Hello my friends, and what is up? Today we're going to be taking a look at the monk spell animations. Decided to do something a little bit silly and go with a gnome. I don't know why, but gnome monks have always been appealing to me in the funny factor. Just look at that stance. Look at that little guy. Tell me he doesn't mean business. Like, he is ready to throw down like a tiny midget Batman, sort of. Let's jump right in. For starters, we are taking a look at the Windwalker monk. Take a look at jab first here, which does still change based on your weapons that you have equipped. So still just the quick little slash there, followed up by a tiger palm. That one's still the pretty cool little spell animation around the fist there as you go in for the jab. Out of all of the melee classes, I think monks are the most stylized and have the most attached to their melee swings and hits as far as animations go. So if you play a monk, I'm sure you're fairly familiar with this and you know your skills are cool looking. Blackout kick still does the swing high kick there with the blackish purple effect there on the heel of the foot as it strikes the target. Taking a look at Fists of Fury, still the same, where we rapidly punch like a crazed Bruce Lee, except this time we're a tiny midget version. Not much of a spell effect there, just the rapid punching. Take a look at Rising Sun Kick. So still the backflip animation there with the two yellow streaks coming up off your feet as you do your backflip there. How about Chi Wave? So that one still just jumps off the target, bounces around, moves around. As you can see, it's jumping all over the place, healing people, healing us, doing damage to other targets. I feel like while the animation itself hasn't been touched up, I feel like the range and effectiveness of it has been upped a little bit, because it's just bouncing there. I mean, here it's just bouncing back and forth, but a while ago you saw it bouncing over there for a bit, and so that's kind of cool, I think. How about Storm, Earth, and Fire? Still does the same thing where their in-flies are first and second one, and let's see. So still only can have two available, but they mimic our attacks. So if you'll watch, we have them still going to town on the targets over there on both sides. And obviously each one is different colored and has a different looking set of gear on, as well as a weapon depending on which one you summon. So that's kind of cool. Transcendence. Now Transcendence is a little bit different now in that it's actually an instant cast. So that's kind of OP, but still cool. And there we go. Leaves our little ghosty form back there, and there's our one we have currently. How about Fortifying Brew? So this one we grow larger, grow gray, same animation basically as Avatar. Crackling Jade Lightning, still same effect, same look. Looks even more awesome coming from a gnome. It's like going all Emperor Palpatine on him. Unlimited power, folks. Unlimited power. How about Roll? So still same look there, covers a whole lot of ground. And then of course Flying Serpent Kick. Same thing, where if we drop to the ground you see that pulse effect come off that does a little bit of damage. Let's look at Zen Meditation. So it puts us on top of the spinning chi orb there with the symbols and runes on it. How about, let's take a look at Paralysis. So still does the same, where it drops the spiky needles over the target. I always thought of it as a big old fatty like acupuncture attack. I don't know why, but that's the first thing I thought of. Expel Harm. Expel Harm, still just the flashing of the green around us, sparkles and then dissipates. How about Disable? So that one's still just the kind of same little palm strike there, and then the burst of purple around the target. Take a look at Touch of Karma. Still the effect over both us and the target. Target goes black for a bit there. Let's take a look now at Energizing Brew. So that one we still have the drinking effect there. Now something that's new for Monk's baseline, at least for their heal, is now Surging Mist. So if you'll see that as the casting animation there. Spear Hand Strike. So a lot of jabs and kicks still. And then Touch of Death, still target goes black, and then is considered dead, of course, if it is able to be killed, unlike the training dummy. Legacy of the White Tiger, still the same symbol above our heads. A little gong with a tiger face on it, it's like a smiling tiger. And then let's look at Detox. So Detox still looks the same. Let's take a look at some of our talents really quick. We did already take a look at Chi Wave. Ascension is passive. Leg sweep. So that one's still the spinning effect there on the target. Let's look at Dampen Harm. So that one we accidentally popped earlier. You might recognize the effect. The oxes swirl around us. There are the ox emblems swirl around us as the effect lasts, and it tends to last a long time. 3 charges on it, but the animation itself is pretty nifty. Rushing Jade Wind for our level 90 talent. So still looks the same. Crane feathers popping off of it. Still does damage until it continues to spin as long as it lasts. I do really like this talent a lot. It's what I'm currently using on live for my monk, and I think it still looks pretty cool. Let's look at our new level 100 talent. Hurricane Strike. This one is pretty sick looking. Like, it's all stylized. Check it out. It just goes whoosh. And you see all those hurricanes popping up from around our feet and does a ton of damage, and it's cool. Very similar to the way Warrior Blade Storm works, just doesn't last as long. Now real quick before we go any further, let's take a look at our Tiger's Eye Brew. So still the same drinking effect there with our little flask. Our character gets all glowy. Taking a look now at the Brewmaster spec. Monks themselves have been hit fairly hard with the ability prune in that their spellbook got a whole lot smaller. There's a lot less skills to manage, so that's kind of cool. Taking a look first off at our Summon Black Ox statue, still looks the same. Sits there, looks pretty, radiates some golden light. Just chilling, hanging out there, doing its thing. You go, Ox statue, you go. And then we'll take a look first at Breath of Fire. So that one still looks cool. There's something also really funny to me about a fire-breathing gnome. I'm okay with that. So one more time, just for laughs, there's Breath of Fire from a gnome. Taking a look now at Chi Burst. Still love the way this skill looks. I don't know, even on live, I just like the way it feels. Looks like it's very Dragon Ball Z-ish. Dizzying Haze still functions the same, still looks the same. You're throwing a big old keg of beer at the target, slows them down, looks cool. I like that splashing effect. Of course, you can see at the base of the target the radiating effects down there at the bottom indicating who and what is slowed. Take a look at Purifying Brew. So that one, the flash there effect has a little effect there around us, and then that's all she wrote. Take a look at Elusive Brew, which requires us to be next to our Ox statue. So very similar effect there, the little waves rippling off of us. Nimble Brew, that one's kind of cool. Looks like fireworks and little flamey effects that are around us as it lasts. Tiger's Lust, so that one's kind of cool. Little rune around us or an emblem at our feet while we gain our speed burst there. Let's take a look at Chi Brew. So that one, what's cool about all the different brews for the monks is you'll notice that the flasks and the pots that we drink out of are all different depending on the brew that we're drinking from. So that I think is pretty cool. Big fan of that. Just little details like that stick out to me, and I think they're definitely something that Blizzard gets kudos for. Now, Spinning Crane Kick, which is the dumbed down version of Rushing Jade Wind. When you spec into Rushing Jade Wind, it does still replace Spinning Crane Kick, so it looks a lot more simplistic here. Let's take a look at Guard. So Guard puts the effect there around us and in front of us. There it goes. The shield there in front, and then the bubble around us. How about Invoke Xuen, the White Tiger? And there he is. Still looks awesome. Let's take a look at Charging Ox Wave. This one's kind of cool. I'm going to go to a different target just real quick so nothing else gets in the way real quick. Do that, and then the Ox goes flying out, and whatever is in its way gets stunned. Our Provoke spell. Small, so very similar to the taunt that warriors have. Nothing too fancy there. Let's take a look at our middle level 100 talent for Brewmasters, which is Chi Explosion. So not too much of an animation there. That's kind of disappointing, actually. Let's try it one more time, see if maybe something didn't pop up right. Oh, there it is. That's pretty cool. See if it has a reduced effect for less chi, sort of. Oh yeah, so it's a smaller burst. Tried it with 1, 2, let's try it with 3 now. There's that one, okay. So still small. And then I suppose with 4, then it stacks up all the way, and then we get that big burst. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. Definitely dig that. And as you can see, our orbs still here on the ground that stack up around us. That much of monks has stayed the same. Let's look at diffuse magic really quickly. So it puts the bubble around us. Little song effect still bubbles off us there, and that's it. Right, now let's take a look at the Mistweaver. This is probably the one healing spec in class that confuses the heck out of me. It's not something that I ever really understood or got, but I hate fighting them, so I know they're a pain in the butt. But I do like the way a lot of their spells and skills look. We have the 2 stances still. Stance of the Wise Serpent and Stance of the Spirited Crane. So it allows us to DPS and heal at the same time, which is quite interesting. And then of course our Stance of the Wise Serpent, which basically boosts our healing and allows us to use certain skills and change the way some of our other skills function, specifically Crackling Jade Lightning and Spinning Crane Kick. So first, for starters, we're going to take a look at Surging Mist. So still looks the same for our restoration spec, of course, as it does our DPS specs. See the effects there around the target on the ground, and the mist there heals the target. Soothing Mist now, so still same effect. This is probably one of the cooler looking healing spells. I think I like the way it looks, because not only do you have that initial wave of mist coming off of your palm, but then you have the other little effects there rushing off you and hitting your target. How about now Renewing Mist? This one is instant cast. Little beam there from the target to you and vice versa. Let's take a look at Enveloping Mist. So that one still, as you can see, covers the target. You see getting the effect of it swirling around the target and just healing it. Now because of Stance of the Wise Serpent, our Spinning Crane Kick has changed. The visual remains the same, but as you can see, it heals the targets around us. Looking now at Manatee. Quick cast, little bottle there in our hands. Then we have our Chi Brew, which still looks the same, of course, as it does in our Brewmaster stance. Take a look now at summon our Jade Serpent statue. And this one we can drop wherever we want. And if I'm not mistaken, it does function still with our Healing Mist, Soothing Mist, I'm sorry. Let's take a look now at Revival. So that's a cool one, just because the Spinning Mist around us. Now it's a pretty subtle effect for such a big spell. I mean, if you read the tooltip on it, it says it heals all party and raid members within 100 yards for 58,951 damage and clears them of all harmful magical poison and disease effects. So that's a big skill and pretty subtle animation. So if we take a look at our Legacy of the Emperor, similar effect as our Legacy of the White Tiger, except we just now have a little bell over our heads instead of a tiger. Let's take a look at our Zen Sphere. Now this one we accidentally clicked a couple times throughout the course of the video, so you might be fairly familiar with it anyways. But there it is. Taking a look at our Ring of Peace. So it still swirls around the target there. Looks cool, a little more detailed, I think, a little more fluid than it was in Mystic Pandaria, so that's kind of cool. It's also really worth mentioning that our Chi Brew is our talent of choice here on our level 45 tier. We did look at that, and we'll pop it up again just to take a look at it. Let's take a look at Chi Torpedo. So there it is, it replaces our roll, but it does travel faster. It's cool because again, it does heal the targets on our way as we're moving along. Do want to take a look here at Uplift. As you can see, the target has our Renewing Mist on it, and it explodes and heals all the targets in the area that are affected by it. Let's take a look at that one more time. Taking a look at Uplift. Taking a look at our first choice in our level 100 tier for the talents for Mistweaver, and this one is unique to Mistweaver, and that is Breath of Serpent. So that one's interesting. As you can see, it comes from our Jade Serpent statue, and it heals everything in its way. And that lasts for quite a long time. And that looks like it's going to just about do it for the monk. And pretty pretty small skill set and as far as abilities that we have available to us, but a pretty big toolbox as far as what they have available to them, the utility they bring to themselves and the raid and party members. I think that just about covers all of our classes looking at spell animations. I don't think I missed one, but if we did, then of course expect a video on it. But if not, then this kind of concludes this series, and I'll have to find something else to do to fill the channel on a fairly regular basis, other than probably just PvP content and taking a look at anything else that I think is interesting coming up on the beta as we get closer and closer to this thing coming to live. But that's going to do it for me, so I'm going to end this video here. Me and Ultipunch say farewell, and I'll catch you guys next time.